So this is the first revision session for B1, You and Your Genes, for OCR 21st Century Science. And we're going to look at inheritance. So inheritance is all about how you look, and the way you look is a result of two things. So firstly, the way you look is to do with your environment. So depending on where you live in the world, you might have a different skin tone depending on how much sun you're exposed to. You might have tattoos, you might have dyed your hair, you might have been in an accident, you might have had scars. So all those things will affect how you look, and those are all products of the environment. And what we're mainly interested in this unit is the other factor, which is your genes. So the two factors which affect how you look, how plants look, how all living organisms look, is based on their environment, but also your genes. So let's take a closer look at genes. So genes are found in the nucleus of your cells. So in every cell in your body, there's a nucleus. So there's a cell, and in that cell, as you know, hopefully, is a nucleus. Now if you zoom in on that nucleus, what we'll find is lots and lots of strands of genetic material known as chromosomes. Now if we look at one particular chromosome or one section of a chromosome, what we see is a long strand which carries on, and on that strand there is information encoded. Now this encoded information, these are your genes. Okay, so in your nucleus there are 46 chromosomes, 23 from each parent. So the reason you look like both your parents is because half of your chromosomes come from your father and half the chromosomes come from your mother. So here's the genes, and this is your DNA, and then one particular bit of information there is called a gene. Okay, so genes are essentially instructions for making proteins. So these proteins can be various things. They can be structural proteins for things like hair and skin and bone, or they can be enzymes which speed up reactions in the body. Okay, so 46 chromosomes in 23 pairs. The 23rd pair are known as the sex chromosomes, and they determine what gender the offspring will be. So we're going to have a look carefully now at how gender is determined. So gender. So remember, the 23rd pair determines gender. Whether you're going to be male or whether you're going to be female. So in a male, the 23rd pair of chromosomes are an X and a Y. So in a male you have an X and a Y, and in a female you have an X and an X. So what determines whether or not somebody is going, an offspring is going to be male or female is the combinations of alleles or genes that they are going to be receiving. Now in general terms, the female egg always carries the chromosome, which is the X chromosome. Maybe I should backtrack and say that our sex cells only ever carry one chromosome. So sex cells carry half the chromosomes each. So that's 23. And if we're looking at the egg cell versus the sperm cell, then if we're looking just particularly at the 23rd chromosomes, then the female will always pass on a single X, whereas the sperm can either be carrying an X or it can be carrying a Y. So if you look at the two chromosomes for males are X or Y. So when the sperms are made, some of those sperms will get an X chromosome, some of those will get a Y chromosome, and it's 50-50 for each. In a female, because both chromosomes, both of them are X, it means that there'll only ever be an X. So if this egg cell is fused with this one in fertilization, then we get X and X, and that will obviously make us a female. But if this sex cell, this egg with an X, fuses with this sperm with a Y, then we'll get an XY, which is a male. So to determine your sex depends on which sperm meets the egg. It doesn't matter because all the eggs have got the X, but depending on which sperm, the X carrying sperm or the Y carrying sperm meets that egg, will determine the gender of the offspring.